Wow. Raul goes Warrior, the USA blundered their match, and Mexico won despite Charlie starting. Hey, Mexico fans will take this any day of the week. Andres from AA Sports, welcome to the channel and another episode on the Mexico national team. Mexico played their CONCACAF Nations League semifinal match on Thursday night in SoFi Stadium against Canada. Entering this game, Canada was definitely the favorite to win not just this game, but also the championship. Roster-wise, Canada was, on paper, the better team with more players in Europe. And with a great coach, many on YouTube and social media said, this could be ugly. This could get ugly for Mexico. Or a game, it could be a game that Mexico barely survives. Many were not confident in Mexico. They didn't pass that eye test for fans entering this Final Four tournament. But Raul Jimenez, Javier Aguirre, and Mexico had something to say about that. They grinded it out and got the win convincingly. A 2-0 win with Raul scoring a brace, and then just an incredible defensive performance from Mexico. Canada had 58% of ball possession in the game, but were only able to produce one shot on target that Malagón was able to save. What a win in front of a packed SoFi Stadium, in front of a crowd that was mostly Mexican supporters. No surprise there. They denied Canada of what many believed was arguably their best shot at a trophy since they won the Gold Cup in 2000, and Mexico advances to the final where they look to win their first ever CONCACAF Nations League title. So Mexico wins 2-0 with 2 goals from Raul Jimenez. Here are the Mexico national team's grades for this big semifinal win. Goalkeeper, B+. Luis Malagón was the starting goalkeeper as we expected and made one save on the only shot on target Canada produced. He went through the motions and did his part, had a clean sheet, but really didn't have to do much outside of that since the defense was great. Which leads into my next grade segment on the 4 main players on the defensive end. Johan Edson Alvarez, this time as a center back, and the fullbacks, Gallardo and Israel Reyes. My final grade for the defenders, A+. The defensive back line was absolutely incredible. Johan Vázquez, take a bow. He had arguably the next best man of the match performance after Raul. He was the best defender in the game, in my opinion, but it wasn't just him. Israel Reyes on the right side, like he usually plays for America, looked much more in his element, and while maybe he did miss his marks 1 or 2 times, he overall held his own against this Canada side that again looked stronger on paper and had a majority possession. I'll say the same thing for Jesus Gallardo. Edson Alvarez, usually a center defensive midfielder, this time was playing further back as a center back alongside Johan. And while that hasn't always worked out under Aguirre's strategy in this game, he was an absolute menace on the field. And he actually nearly scored a goal of his own. It is a bummer. It was a bummer, it didn't count, but he had a strong showing. The Mexican defense did everything right and completely suffocated Canada's offense to only 1 single shot on goal. Just a partidazo from the backline guys. Midfielders, B+. Charlie was not a liability that hurt the team. That alone, for his standards, made it a big game for him. However, he didn't produce offensively at all. That's nothing new. And while he did help a couple times defensively, it was nowhere near as much as other players. He mostly went through the motions on the field. But again, coming from someone who thought we were dead with him starting, given how bad he usually is, For him to not be a liability alone is a sigh of relief. As for Eric Lira, while he was Eric Lira, he was the defensive midfielder, while Edson was a center back along with Johan Vasquez. So it was a very defensive 4-4-2 formation, even with only two midfielders. Eric Lira had a great 88-minute shift until he was subbed off for Luis Chavez. He did very well defending and providing the center backs with extra help. And for this, I give the midfielders a B+. I can't complain with how they performed. Offensive front, I'm giving them an A-. Piojo Alvarado and Alexis Vega were the starting wingers, and while they didn't produce and look amazing on offense with the ball, they did a great job falling back and helping the defense. When they fell back to defend, nobody was walking or looking slow out there. You still had good effort from both wingers in some way. I'll say the same thing for Julian Quiñones when he was subbed on in the final 10 minutes to close out the game. Santi Jimenez was a starting striker alongside Raul. Finally, Mexico started 2 nines up front, which was nice to see. I will say he was definitely not one of the most noteworthy players in this game, primarily because it was a defense first style of play, and offensively Mexico wasn't great in this game. Again, only 40-ish% of the ball possession. So this by no means is, oh, Santi is a fraud or a tronco. This is simply Santi being a true traditional striker who, when Mexico plays more offensively along with Raul, I think can do well. He has to be used at the right times for Mexico. We'll see what happens come Sunday. Meanwhile, Raul, man, world class. He was able to work magic in a game where Mexico did not do much offensively. He capitalized on Canada's turnover in their side of the field and scored in the first minute of the game. A clean finish to the far post that he was able to put past St. Clair. And now he's a free kick king. Had a banger free kick against the US in October, and in this game put a gem of a shot on a free kick again. He scored both goals and was the best player on the field all around. I look at Raul's performance in this game, and if he didn't prove that he is the go-to striker for Mexico in October versus the United States, he definitely proved it in this game. He is in incredible form, and what a comeback story for him. Remember, he had that awful injury, and fans wondered if he would even be able to play again. They were not even expecting him to return to anywhere near the same form. Not only is he playing again, but he is balling out at Fulham and for Mexico. Arguably the greatest comeback story in CONCACAF, and it is amazing to watch. Head coach, A+. Javier Aguirre put the team in a 4-4-2 and built the starting lineup around the team's biggest strength, the defense. Then he decided to put 2 nines in Santi and Raul in the lineup. He made a plan that ensured the defense would not be a problem, and when the opportunity came, to let the star power up front, especially in Raul, do the work that was needed to get the win. He used the same style of play that he used to save Mallorca from relegation in Spain, and the plan worked to perfection. Canada had the majority of the ball possession, but neither the players on the field nor the Canadian coach were able to crack Aguirre and Mexico's defense and get good opportunities to score. It was a defensive masterclass from players like Johan, Edson, and the backline players, and a world-class performance from Raul. But one thing that should not go unnoticed was Vasco Aguirre out-coaching this Canada side as well. Final score, Mexico beats Canada 2-0, 2-0. and advance on, where they will play Panama in the final tonight. This was a big win for Mexico, arguably one of their biggest since the 2023 Gold Cup final, and now they will have to win against the very same team they beat in that Gold Cup final to win their first Nations League title. Meanwhile, some fans wanted a USA versus Canada matchup with all the European talent on both sides of their rosters, and well, hey, they're going to get that matchup, but only for third place. Andres from WA Sports, leave a like and subscribe. Guys, I have officially reached 100 subscribers. Thank you all for your support so far. Stay tuned for more content and continue to spread the word about my sports channel, as the best is yet to come on this passion project. Muchas gracias y vamos México.